ladies and gentlemen, by my phone clock here, Greenwich time has told us it's 9 o'clock. We are now in session, and I'm honored this morning to be in charge of this meeting because Trilly is out for the day. Katina, do we have a fully advertised meeting today?
We do.
And do we have a quorum?
We do.
All right, for the record, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Briar Waddell, and if you would stand and face us and lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you'll stay forward with us, I have a small certificate for you.
I believe he's the best dressed Pledge of Allegiance leader.
I know. We agree.
And,
You just like his bow tie.
I do.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, we're getting pictures in two different directions.
Go that
here,
way
so
first.
if you hold that level. And one is in this.
Now one for the record. Yep. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good, thank
And
you.
you're
Thank
welcome
you.
to stay, or you're welcome to go back to class.
Hard decision.
He prefers to stay.
This will be the one time you actually want to go back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You look great.
And now, I believe it's Magistrate Cullen leading our prayer.
Our kind, gracious Heavenly Father, we are grateful to be here to do the service for this county and for the people that have appointed us to be trustworthy with their finances, and that we will do the things that are pleasing not only to Thee but also to those that have entrusted us. We ask that You will watch over this meeting and that You will impart your will and desires for how You see fit for this county. And we ask that You will put a special blessing on all of our first responders and those serving our country, that You will protect them and watch over them and keep them safe and give a loving hand to the families of those that serve us as well, that we understand how hard it can be to see your loved ones go off and concern about their return. We ask these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Magistrate Cullen. And I would like to comment that I appreciate Magistrate Cullen mentioning the storms. I've been a magistrate 6 years and lived here in Boyle County with my wife for 24. And we've had our share of tornadoes and storms where we lost 10, 11 airplanes.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 hangars, and in this particular circumstance this week, we've been extremely fortunate that the damages have been nominal compared to Frankfurt's one of my favorite towns because I spent a lot of time there corporately, and I'm praying that the History Center is not involved in the flooding downtown, because the historic district certainly is. So, all right. Again, thank you, Jason. I would call for, we have 2 sets of minutes, and the first, let's consider the special called meeting. I'd call for a motion to approve that set of minutes.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. And secondly, our regularly scheduled meeting 2 weeks ago, I'd also call for a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve.
Magistrate Cullen
Second.
approved. And second again by Magistrate Bodner.
I
Thank you very
think
much.
Jamie. Jamie.
Jamie.
Oh, my apology.
Understand that you can get those 2 mixed up.
All right.
I am.
And
Cold.
Shannon is
We
There you
have to
go.
vote.
Yeah, I
You
forgot.
have to vote.
Okay, Shannon, would you please?
We need to vote.
We have
We
to
need to
vote.
vote, Tom.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, thank you. I need a vote. All in favor of both motions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, likewise? All right, thank you. Okay, Shannon, if you would give us our budget transfer, please.
We have budget transfers in the amount of $229,657.08.
Move we approve the budget transfers as presented.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay,
Second.
second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? Any comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, likewise? Thank you. And Shannon, if you would give us our cash transfers,
Okay.
please.
I have cash transfers. Transfer from the opioid account to EMS, $52,938.46. And this is for Terry's salary for 9 months. And I'll do one more at the end of the year.
Make a motion to approve.
Nope, I'm gonna keep going. I got from the general fund to the road fund, 50,000. From general to jail, 150,000. From general to EMS, 100,000. And from general to fleet, 10,000.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion we approve.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, bless you, and second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And likewise, any opposed? Motion carries, and thank you all, and thank you, Shannon. Elena, approval of our bills.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All righty, in your bill packet today, we need to approve a total of $336,547.38.
Make a motion, we approve the bills as presented.
Motion by Magistrate Gay,
Second.
second by Magistrate Bodnar. Any discussion?
Yep. Question.
Okay.
139,620 Matthew Condick, Building and Construction HVAC. What's that for? Which?
Red Cane property.
Okay, it just didn't have a label of any sort or anything like
I
that.
did wonder about that too.
Yeah.
Which,
It just said HVAC Matthew.
the HVAC system at the Fred Cane property.
Yeah,
Yes, that's what
yeah.
that's for.
All right, and then on same page down a little further, $10,000. It says Arts Center of the Bluegrass, but then it says Main Street Perryville Q4 disbursement. What's that?
Can you give me a voucher number on it? Arts
Uh,
Center of the Bluegrass.
voucher. Yeah, it's about
Because I agree to
yeah
page 3 of the report.
same page as the.
Right there.
Right here, Arts Center of the Bluegrass?
Yeah.
It's got the wrong description. I'll go in and change that. It's just to the Arts Center of the Bluegrass
It's
for the
there.
$10,000, yes.
Okay.
It's the wrong description.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you like to amend your motion to include that change that will be made after the meeting?
I didn't make the motion.
I'm looking at Jamie.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, and likewise, thank you, Paul.
All right.
All right, any further discussion?
Those were the two that I had questioned on. So.
You say yes or no?
No, that's it.
All right. With the change that will take place, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Elaine.
Let me finish writing this just a second. Thank you.
All right, next we have the second reading of ordinance 340.12, the permitting fee increase. And Counselor, shall I read this?
Yeah, I mean, we'd already read it. I mean, I'll go ahead and be it ordained. This is ordinance 340.12. It's an ordinance relating to the amendment of 340.6, which amended 340.3, building inspector permits and fees. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Boyle County, the following section of the Boyle County Building Inspector Ordinance be amended upon passage and publication to include the following language. Section 6, permit and fees. The fees for permits and inspections shall be provided as provided in the attached schedule, which may be adjusted by written order of the Boyle Fiscal Court acting upon a motion duly approved by a majority of the members present and voting at any regular or special call meeting. And it's got the changes, Julie.
Schedule's attached, yeah.
Yeah. So
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen,
Second.
second by Magistrate Gay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item is CASA of the Bluegrass Proclamation. And we're all concerned about child abuse and issues that unfortunately we see on the news every day. I am going to defer the reading of the proclamation to our counselor out of great respect to honor the fact that I've known no one in my 24 years more dedicated than our Boyle County Attorney, Chris Herron, to handle.
Just realized I did not take care of his name.
No, thanks. National Child Abuse Prevention Month Proclamation. Whereas April is recognized as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, a crucial time to raise awareness and take action in an ongoing effort to protect our children and strengthen families. Whereas this year's theme, It Takes a Village, emphasizes the collective responsibility of our communities in fostering the well-being of all children. Whereas at Children's Network, we are committed to creating a nurturing environment where every child can thrive, and we acknowledge that it requires the combined efforts of individuals, families, and organizations. Whereas throughout this month, we will actively engage in spreading awareness, sharing valuable resources, and providing essential education aimed at preventing child abuse and reinforcing community bonds. Whereas, in support of these efforts, we encourage all members of the community to participate in activities and programs assigned to promote child safety and family resilience during this important month and beyond. Now therefore, I, Trilly L. Bottom, Boyle County Judge Executive in the Boyle County Fiscal Court, do hereby proclaim the month of April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Let us unite in our mission to ensure that every child feels safe, supported, and loved, recognizing our shared duty to nurture and protect future generations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
CASA ladies, please come forward, and we would very much invite your comments.
We actually brought you guys something too. I don't know if that's,
Got stuff.
yeah, we got stuff. We got some goodies. We like to bring goodies.
Oh, wow. That is nice stuff.
Cookies.
So we thank you all for allowing us to have this proclamation as you typically do each year in April.
That's very kind.
Oh, okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's fine.
And calls attention because it's readily seen on the cover.
It's getting worn out, so that.
Hey, that works out.
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Nice. Thank you so much.
The other thing that's being passed around right now is a little sticker of the mural that was recently painted on the side of our building on Walnut Street. So,
Thank you.
just a little commemoration of that.
Did you get one?
Yeah, I got one like
at
one
the-
week
yeah,
planted.
that's what I thought.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
This is another example of see something, say something, and all too often, folks just don't speak up in society, regardless of the issue at hand, but this one should touch all of our hearts in particular, so thank you and God bless you all.
Yes, thank you.
Would you like to make any comments?
I think it was all said very well. I will note, just because we typically touch on this whenever we come and speak to the fiscal court, is that last year in 2024, in Boyle County alone, there was 148 new petitions of child abuse, neglect, and dependency. That's 148 individual children, in addition to the ones that still have active cases going. So, not to bring down the mood at all, but I like to give that number so that everyone can kind of keep in mind when we're talking about child abuse prevention, we're talking about those 148 children, as well as all of the children already, and the children who just might not have come before the court yet. So thank you all for all that you do and for allowing us to proclaim April here in Boyle County as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we'll just keep on being the village for these children and speaking up and all of these themes to see that we can make sure that all of these children are safe here in Boyle County.
Tell them about what's going on Friday.
Oh, yeah, so Friday, this Friday is the annual CASA Gala. It used to be kind of the Derby Eve Gala, but we've kind of transitioned to more of just Spring Gala. It'll be held at Warrenwood Manor down in Junction City, and it's always a really fun time, a really great event to bring the community together to talk about not only what CASA does, but truly the deeper mission of what CASA is, which is to make sure that children are safe, they have permanent homes, and that they can have the opportunity to thrive. Is that what you wanted me to tell you?
All right. That's their major fundraiser.
Oh, okay.
How much does it, have you figured out how much does it cost to train an individual?
So, of course you would ask me that number specifically.
Exactly. I was just saying that's what it costs.
We'll believe whatever you tell us.
So, what it costs to train an individual CASA volunteer
Snoop's out right now.
ends up, well, I'm not going to give you a specific number because I don't have money people here, but it is cheaper, far cheaper, than having a child in foster care for a year.
And the last number I saw statewide is well over 8,000 in foster care.
Oh, yes, yes. Of course, I don't have that number specifically on my head either, but for the total number of petitions in Kentucky last year, we have 148 here. There were over 16,000 in the state. And a good portion of those children are having to go into foster care because they don't have relative placements or they cannot remain in that original home because it's unsafe at the time. So being able to provide a child a CASA, which I'm going to call her out, we actually have a current CASA volunteer in the audience here for something else, but being able to provide a child with a CASA volunteer statistically creates better outcomes for these kiddos. So children who have CASAs who go through the family welfare or child welfare system and the family court system, they have a less chance of re-entering the system, which is a really big statistic that is kind of shadowing the family court system, is that typically if a child comes into the system and then they get to leave, they're likely to come back because of further abuse, neglect, or dependency issues. But if they have a CASA, statistically those children come back before the court and before child welfare system less often. Plus they have better outcomes when they become adults because they have a person in their life, a caring, just everyday human who cares about them. So when this child then gets out of high school and enters the workforce and adulthood, they have a caring individual that even if that person is not currently in their life still, they can have that impact from when they were younger. So children who have had a CASA also go on to kind of beat the statistical outcomes of children who end up in the child welfare system, such as a lower rate of incarceration, a lower rate of premature mortality, all of the bad things. Children with CASAs end up doing a little bit better. And that's really all that we're trying to do. We're trying to see that every child can do a little bit better, but the CASA impact is one that I personally feel very strongly on because it is a volunteer position. It is just an everyday human with their own background and their own passion, choosing to dedicate their time for one child or one set of siblings to make sure that their needs are being met as they go through this very scary, tumultuous time.
There's something that I've seen over the past few years on Facebook, the hand signal, whether a child is walking with an adult down a busy street, at a stoplight, subway in the big cities, or even on an airplane, where the child makes that hand signal. Any of you three know that? Because I'd love for that to be visibly shown on our tape, where it's a two-step hand signal
I do
where,
not.
I've seen it on
That's something we-
Facebook. I've seen it's like,
Yeah,
help me. it's,
where all it is
Is it just kind of like a flashing?
they look intently to the person in the car next to them and make that hand signal, and it has resulted in many arrests in the past. So along with this wonderful sticker that you have, you might consider,
Yeah.
it would be so easy to print that so that people would understand just how to make the signal as a child and how to understand it on the see something, say something concept.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that would be really good information for our schools to know also, since
Good
these
deal.
children spend most of their days in the school. Even if a child might not feel comfortable enough to say something specifically to their teacher, but maybe at pickup, drop-off, parent-teacher conference, if there was any kind of signal that they could give of, hey, I am unsafe, I feel unsafe, that would, I think, be very helpful in that setting
And it's
also.
just so simple, and I should have, recorded it in my own mind, but again, that would be something I'd love to see published, and maybe even talk to the advocate about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
We'll
can,
get on that for
I can tell you an instant back 20 years ago, no names of course, of a little child. He went to his teacher and said, my dad threw me into a chair. And she's like, oh, so she came to me, the school nurse. And so she said, this child said, and then she brought the child in, we talked. He's like, yeah, my dad threw me into a chair. And we talked about it, and I still couldn't get anything called the social worker. Social worker came in, had an interview with the child, and then had with the parent. And so the comes up found out everybody did the right thing. The dad was walking, fell over something in his path, tried to save the child, threw him into the couch, but it hit the back and had a mark on it. That's why. But the teacher did, the child did the right thing, went to the teacher. The teacher went to me, we all interviewed, went to the social worker, went to the parent. It all worked. And it was a good outcome. It was, and the child came back and said, yeah, he was throwing me because he fell down, It was all perfect. There was no trial. But you got to take every instance, everything they say, and investigate. And
Yeah,
that's
proving
what-
innocence is every bit as
Exactly.
important as proving guilt, so
And-
thank
and
you for that
I
example.
think a lot of people worry, ooh, maybe not, maybe nothing's going on, but you gotta check it out. You just gotta.
Yeah, which is a last point I guess I'll make is that here in Kentucky, every adult, every human is a mandated reporter of suspected or known child abuse or neglect. And if you call the number or go online, you can do so anonymously. So a lot of people are worried about that of, I don't want to, make an accusation that's not true and cause bigger problems. And I totally understand that concern, but the ability to be able to report these things, even just suspected abuse or neglect, that way the systems in place can investigate those. You can do so anonymously, and then that way it.
Interesting though, Counselor, on that concept of anonymous identity of a situation, would that, if that's the only person as a witness, would that then require a subpoena to the individual who's made the accusation to appear in court?
Or they're saying they're being.
I see an instant, and it could be one where there is innocence, but it's such a profound circumstance that under the law, as you've reported, I have to report it, even though it's anonymous in that first level of report. Might I be subpoenaed to testify in court?
Well, I mean, it is a misdemeanor not to report dependency, abuse, and neglect. And so you should report it, and once you report it to social services, then they'll do the investigation and so forth. Maybe it's nothing, then there won't be a court case or whatever, but potentially if they discover that it's more, then they interview the child and so forth, and you could be a potential witness.
And we should be willing to appear in court, but I just wanted to clarify that one issue, that some people would then try to recede from it, but they're on record as having reported it. So it gets a little bit.
I mean, once you subpoena someone, they have
They're
to
in,
come to court, and if they don't, then they
Right.
could be held in
Consequences to them, yeah.
The universal sign is that.
Very simple.
It says universal sign for health.
Okay.
Kind of interesting thing.
Yeah.
I've
We
seen
should
it
all,
before on Facebook.
we all know the Heimlich removal.
Yes.
And it's just so simple to do what Magistrate Bodner's found for us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Thank
any
you.
other questions before we vote? Any other comments before we vote? I'll call the question then.
Casey?
All those in favor?
It's just a proclamation of
It's
Oh, I'm
proclamation.
sorry, okay. All right, so no vote needed?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
At
Well, we all vote in
18W.
favor.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
we're all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your nice gift. All right, next we have an Arbor Day Proclamation, and I shall read it. Whereas the Commonwealth is blessed with diverse forests that extend from the hardwood forests of the east to the cypress sloes of the west, and whereas trees are a sustainable resource providing significant environmental, economic, social, and human health benefits to Kentuckians, and whereas 1/3 of Kentuckians live in a community actively managing their urban forests, spending a total of $7 million on this asset, and whereas Kentucky's forest products are a $13.5 billion green industry employing over 60,000 people, and whereas trees enhance our air quality, purify our water resources, protect our soil, supply a source of renewable energy, and provide valuable wildlife habitat, and whereas forests improve our health by offering a place of recreation and solace, and whereas trees and healthy forests enhance the quality of life for all Kentuckians, now therefore I, Tom Ellis, Boyle County Judge Executive Pro Tem, hereby proclaim April 4, 2025 as Arbor Day. In the state of Kentucky, I urge all citizens across this great Commonwealth to participate in the observance of this day by planting a tree. Our reward and that of future generations will be a more beautiful Kentucky whose health and well-being are sustained by this great natural resource, our forests. Tom Ellis, and I make that proclamation today. And trees are a passion of mine. My wife and I moved here 24 years ago, and on 2.5 acres I planted 82 trees. And now I have a lot of leaves to fool with. So, being a proclamation, no vote, correct?
Correct.
Thank you very much. And I think the extension officer has already made a tree distribution this year. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
We did not have that in our packets, by the way.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, no, it's fine.
Okay. Next, we have the KYTC roads report. And yes, sir, gentlemen, come forward.
I'm with the KYTC District 7 for the rural secondary program. Just going to go over quickly what it is, and then we can go over the handouts. Does everyone have a handout?
Yes.
So it's a KRS stated mandated program that is funded by 22.2% of the motor fuel tax revenue. The allocations per county is based on the FIS formula, so 1/5 equal share, 1/5 rural road mileage, 1/5 rural population, 2/5 rural area. The funding is to be used on rural secondary maintenance needs. KYTC also offers a flex program, which allows the county to either allocate the funds to a rural secondary route or to a county route for maintenance needs. The amount that's allocated through the flex program is based on a grading system of the rural secondary roads in your county.
Is that the same rating system as the state roads, the 1 through 10, and right now we're pretty much in the 8, 9, and 10?
Oh, that's a LARP. That's I forgot what House bill that is, but that's a separate thing. This is just for the rural secondary.
Okay,
Yeah.
appreciate
So, it's based on a grading system, so it's like A is 25%, B is 20%, C is 15, and D is 10, so you can see it on your handout, 15%, so C for Boyle County. And I guess go over the handouts. At the top, we added back in the resurfacing cycle based on mileage and width of the roads. And if you look on the back, you can see all the rural secondary routes that have been maintained in the past 10 years, and including the fiscal year 2026 recommendations. The orange is for the rural secondary routes, and the green is our rural secondary route for flex funding. And if you go back in the front, we can go over the allocations. So that 15% comes out to $127,540. The balance for RS projects is $580,605. Comes up to a total of $708,145. This does not account for previous balances from last year. In 2024, we did Forkland Road from Rolling Fork Bridge to Kentucky 1822, and from the Boyle County line to the Boyle Marion County line. 2025, we did Bluegrass Pike from Lockland to Kentucky 1915, Faulkner from Railroad Crossing to Kentucky 33, and Forkland from prior to Dye Hollow Road to Nosco Road, and from Kentucky 1822 to Reynolds Hollow Road. For this year, for the rural secondary recommendation, we are suggesting Forkland Road from Nosco to Kentucky 300, and then continuing on from Kentucky 300, then to the Lincoln Boyle County line to Kentucky 52 for Hubble Road. And then flex recommendation, it is Alum Springs from Yates Road to Railroad Crossing. So we will need two motions, one to approve the rural secondary recommendations, and the second to on the county's decision on the flex recommendation.
Two separate motions.
Two seconds.
On the first, do I hear a motion to accept?
Which one are we doing? The rural secondary recommendations, the orange one.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Bodner and second by Magistrate Cullen. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Thank you. And the second is?
For the flex recommendation, so does the county want to use it on the route we recommend, or does it want to allocate it to county route maintenance?
Now that gets a little more interesting.
Yes, I want to use it on that one.
Second.
Yes, because we've had no roads fixed forever in my district, so, and I'd spoken with Judge Bottom about it, and so she had mentioned that we were going to discuss doing this, so.
Comments from others? First or
Is that a
second?
motion?
I make a motion. Yeah.
On the second recommendation?
Yes.
Second it.
Motion made by Magistrate Bodner, second by Magistrate Cullen. More
With,
discretion.
with the understanding that the rest of that road is horrific also. I mean, it's fallen in, there's holes, it's terrible.
So when this,
So we want to make sure it's, 3 years ago, I put it, asked, was it on the list? And the people that were up there said, no, it's not on the list anywhere. I said, well, it's really awful, or 2 years ago. This is going into the third year, so I'm glad to see something is being done with it, but the rest of it definitely needs to continue.
I too would like to make a
To
comment.
Parksville.
We went as a group to Frankfurt and met with Senator Bledsoe a year and a half ago, and I had a half a sentence out when she anticipated my comment. And I think this is as important to the media who are listening and watching today, and certainly our constituents all across the county. As you drive Perryville Road and you get to the county line in Washington County and you get to other county lines on similar paving, I started to say to her that there is more than a noticeable difference in the grade, and that's the only way I know to explain it as a layman. But the pebbliness that you look down on Perryville Road and some of our other roads indicates to me a poor grade of asphalt. As I began to open that sentence up to Senator Bledsoe in anticipating it, she absolutely agreed and said that she's researched that issue, and by state decision, when county judges and county action is taken with any given vendor who's going to pave that road, they're now told, I'll put it on a scale of 1 to 10, no more 10 grade, we're going to go down to 7 or 8. And that to me is penny wise, pound foolish. I know it has to do with the cost of the composition of asphalt, but it's something that I hope you'll take back. And I hope by now, since that's been in place on Perryville Road for a number of years and is degrading quickly, and again this morning was much degraded because of this difficult winter, I hope you'll take back that concept of, is it better to pave it with the grade that's over in Washington County with a higher cost of asphalt, or with the delays that we see on our state roads through our county, and there's so many here, would it be better to bite the bullet and do a 7 to 10 year type grade as opposed to one that's breaking down after a very few years? So I just had to put that in the record.
All right, so question, this is for fiscal year 2026, correct, for what we just
Yes.
made the motion on? We haven't voted on that yet.
Correct.
Okay, all right. What's the time frame? Are we looking to first half, second half of 2026 when you guys make this recommendation? Do you know?
For implementation?
For implementation. I think the way it goes, I think, is that we have to have it let and awarded. So it takes, I'm not sure exactly what the letting schedule will be. I think right now, 2025, the status is awarded. It hasn't been completed yet. So once 2025 is done, I think we'll move on to 2026.
It'd just be easier for a magistrate voter to be able to tell people, yes, this has been recommended, and this is kind of when we anticipate that it's going to be done.
A large spot and almost into Parksville washed away.
Yeah, that's gonna be fixed.
Yeah, okay, it just washed away.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, call the vote.
Yeah, if you don't have a specific answer on that now, if you could just write back to Judge Bonham to
Yeah,
clarify.
it depends when it's let. If it's let at the end of the year, December, it'll have like a deadline of July 1st or July 30th. If it's not let till April, it'll typically have a date of November. And then it's up to the contractor whenever he decides to fit it in. So, you know, it could be within a several month time frame.
And-
But it'll definitely be, you know, by the fall of 26.
And then one more very specific question. With Perryville Road being the gateway to maybe 15–18% of our tourism out to the battlefield in Perryville, there is more and better grass in strips of the emergency lane on Perryville Road than in my front yard on Perryville Road. What's the priority level of paving the shoulders?
That whole road is gonna be paved this year.
Shoulders and all.
The shoulders and all, yes.
It's a bit embarrassing
Yeah,
to
I agree.
have people come in from Maine, from Florida, from Oregon, and I can document that they've all been here from every state.
I understand.
And it's such a beautiful thoroughfare to a magnificent Gettysburg of the West, as it's in the internet of the battle that was fought there. And hopefully that will be done soon, so. All right, if you'll restate, excuse me.
Can we vote?
That's what I'm just
Okay.
gonna have.
Perfect.
If you'll restate the specifics of Ms. Bodner's,
The flex recommendation, it's along Springs from Yates Road to the railroad crossing.
okay, and now we have it very specifically on record. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign.
I just wondered, the flex funds and the rural secondary, what is the exact difference between just rural secondary flex? I have to ask this every year for some
Okay,
reason.
so I guess the way it works is that rural secondary is what we recommend for rural secondary routes. They can only be applied to rural secondary routes. For flex funds, we allow the county to choose whether to apply it to the rural
Okay,
secondary
that's what I
recommendation that we
thought
give,
that-
or
yeah,
you can
but-
apply it to a county route.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your thoughts?
And that vote was
Thank you.
for both.
Thank you.
I think you already did.
We
Yeah.
voted on, we can't vote on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
guess right here.
If the judge isn't in, do I come in later for the signed copy or?
That was
Shannon
probably,
can sign.
oh, good. Pass that down to Sharon, please. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right. Steve Griffin. Oh, excuse me, one moment, Steve. Elena, had a for us. My apology, Elena.
Okay. The amendment you all made to the original motion, I need that amended again because what is in your packets is correct,
For the bills.
okay, for the bills. What's in there is correct.
So we're receding from,
Receive the amendment you made to the original motion. Yes.
do I hear a motion to
Hold on.
recede?
I'm gonna explain it.
Thank you, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain it
Do I hear a motion to recede from our previous motion?
for discussion.
Yes, I'm moving.
Second.
Made by Magistrate Gay, seconded by Magistrate Bodner.
Okay.
Any discussion? I have to do that. Any discussion?
Where are you at with-
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Okay, now you want me to explain?
We're open.
All right. So the Main Street Payroll disbursement is the quarter four disbursement for $10,000. The reason you see Art Center of the Bluegrass is because if you're in the budget under Ledger Code 01-5435-50700 for a total of $90,000 under the one appropriation, you have multiple appropriations. The first line in the appropriation code is Art Center of the Bluegrass. It became the default name within the software.
Alphabetically.
Alphabetically, it became the default code. So anytime you have a disbursement for Art Center of the Bluegrass, Civil Air Patrol, Great American Brass Band Festival, Downtown Downbeat, Payroll Main Street Program, the Arts Commission, and the Veterans Appreciation Event, you're going to see the name,
The default.
the default, as Art Center of the Bluegrass.
How do we get that fixed? Because that's going to be confusing.
That is confusing.
We need to go back to the vendor and ask them to fix that, somehow have a hierarchy
The
in there.
software.
Yeah, go in there and say, somehow this needs to say, whatever, we name
A
it
general,
appropriations
yeah.
or whatever.
The general.
And then, because that's gonna cause a red flag on an audit, I can almost guarantee.
Okay,
Thank you for the clarification.
of
Yeah,
course.
thanks for looking into it.
Of course.
And,
You
so,
good
yeah,
now?
so I move that we pay the bills as presented.
Second.
And second, okay, motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any further questions? Statements? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, like sign. Thank you.
All right, I'm
Thanks
gonna
for
print
that.
the checks.
Thank you.
Pay those bills.
Now, Mr. Griffin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to introduce Robin Mallory, who's our new HR coordinator responsible for benefits and payroll. And she's been with us now a little over almost 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks. Yeah.
So welcome her, and I told her she didn't have to talk.
We might want her to.
Well, you can
Nice
talk
to
if you
meet
want
you.
to.
Yes. Today's our big day. It's our first payroll on
Oh.
Paycom, so we'll be,
Fingers crossed.
yes, we'll be submitting that this afternoon. But so far, everyone's been great. I've been very happy.
There's an aging, white-haired magistrate who may be calling on you because often he's confused by these sorts of
That's
things.
okay. My office, they've joked that I need a waiting room.
There's a line.
Yes, I've had a line concept, but it's been wonderful. So, very good, warm welcome, so it's been great.
Well, thank you. We've heard lots of good things about you.
Thank you. Well, hopefully today it'll be a smooth payroll. Everybody's been doing good. I have to give a shout out to all the department managers who've done an awesome job getting everything in and submitting everything on time, and so nothing but wonderful things. And shout out to Shannon, she did great with the transition, wonderful record keeping and just great help with getting Paycom set up, so it's just been smooth. So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you,
Thanks.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Boyle County Extension Director Jay Hettmansperger. Is that close?
Very good, that's very good. Good morning. Again, I'm Jay Hettmansperger, and I'm the new county director of the Boyle County Extension Office. And glad to be here. I've met some of you already. I apologize for not getting here sooner than today, but I hit the ground running. I started the 1st of December. So
Where'd you come in from?
I came in from Garrett County. I was the ag agent in Garrett County for 15 years. So I currently live just south of Junction City, actually in the Lincoln County side. So
You don't know Barry Peel by any chance, do you?
no.
Me too.
So I'm going to go over the budget. I sent, there's two different things. I sent the summary sheet and I sent the whole 7-page complete budget plan. And I don't know how much information you want. I'm just going to go over the summary sheet. And so with the approved tax rates of real property of 8.6 and personal property of 8.08 and motor vehicle of 1.3, generates an income of 2.5 million, roughly 2.5 million in income. We have a carryover of roughly 3.9 million and total appropriations and expenditures of 1.9 million for the fiscal year 2026-27.
You said real property is 8.6, and then personal property, did you say 8.08?
18.08.
18, I couldn't hear it. Okay, thank you. I saw it there, so.
And from what I get, that is a reduction. The board voted to reduce taxes from the previous year.
What was previous year's numbers?
21, was it 21 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was 20.
20 something,
The real property was, I believe, 9.
yeah.
And the personal property, I believe you're right, was 21.
I believe,
Yeah.
yeah.
You stated reduce taxes. Reduce taxes or reduce the increase to the next year in taxes. This is the old situation in years of going to Washington DC where we're reducing your taxes when in fact it went from $100 to $112. So they wanted 120, and so they reduced their taxes. Which is it with your statement on reduced taxes?
Well, it's
The
just,
rate.
the rates were reduced.
But the actual dollar
Amount is going
constituent
up.
pocket
The actual dollar amount
is going up.
is about the same as
If
what
they
I,
take the compensating rate, the income to the entity stays the same, but the rate can go down because of the increased assessed
in
value.
assessments, correct. Yeah.
But to the individual property taxpayer, it ultimately can be a reduction depending on whether your property was reassessed or not. If your property is not reassessed that year, then you are getting a reduction. If your property value has been reassessed in that year, you're going to be paying more because most likely your property value got assessed at a higher dollar amount.
And it went up all on every facet, not just then.
Right.
Right.
Do you have a statutory reserve requirement, X number of dollars of operating, or?
We do not, but kind of an unwritten rule that we try to keep in reserve the amount of expenditures for a year in case there would be something, the tax rates or something, the taxes aren't collected. So that's approximately $2 million. We have a reserve right now of $3.9 million. And we're getting ready to put a long-range committee together to look at needs and wants for the extension office for the long range. We have a county extension council meeting actually on April 15th. And we're going to try and put that committee together and look 10 years down the road. And it's like I told the board and the agents, you know, nobody, you know, 20 years ago when they were sitting at the old Farm Bureau building down there, thought that they would be in the facility like they are today. So we want to take that long range and look at 10 years. We want to look at 20 years, what our needs are down the road. And we would appreciate any input too.
So if I'm looking at your numbers right, you're 3.9 in reserves.
Yes.
You're expecting 2.5 to come in this year.
Correct.
And your expenditures are 1.9.
Correct.
So you're going to end up with 4.5 million in reserves, all in all, at the end of 2026.
Yeah.
So not a thought about going lower than this? Because, I mean, that's an exorbitant amount of reserves.
I can't speak for the board, but their general thinking is to start reducing that, yes.
So
Because I know,
To kind of reduce that carryover. Yes.
and I know last year's discussion was to pay off outstanding debt that you all have. I would say you have it.
Right.
So
Our loan is through KCO, and it is, we can't pay that loan off early. That's how KCO generates their income. So there is a, I believe for the next 6 years, a $338,000 payment that we have to make. Roughly half of that's interest, and that's how KCO.
Was that a 10-year
Yes, we have the
loan?
money to pay it off, but we can't. That's the way the loan is set up. It's not a simple loan.
for another 6 years, you can't pay it.
Right.
So it's like a 10-year loan or something, or was
Yeah,
it?
it was a
short
long-term loan,
but,
yeah.
I mean, considering the building.
Right.
Yeah, and as Magistrate Bodner mentioned, essentially another reserve, at least in a layperson's mind, would be $8 million values of the building. So I think that's why we get questions from our
Correct.
constituents.
Correct.
So there will be discussion about maybe looking at those rates and lowering those rates.
I think you're right. And from speaking with the board and listening to the board talk, I think they want to make that correction. Yes.
Now, in some of your expenditures I was looking at, I just want to make sure I'm seeing this correctly.
Sure.
So for travel, you're expecting $10,000 worth of travel from 4 people. What kind of travel are they doing that they're going to require $10,000 each to go various places?
Okay, travel includes mileage. It also includes motel registrations for different meetings, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we do the same thing, and we're in the
Right.
process of
Right.
our budget. And I don't think anybody outside of the judge who travels the most amongst us. Yeah, we have several conferences and several things we do come close to that number. So that's why I was just kind of trying to understand. It seems a little high for travel, but
That figure's in there, but rarely do they spend it all.
okay. So it's
And
there.
the way the system is set up, all the agents have to have the equal amount. So some of them might spend $9,000, one of them might spend $9,000, the other person, there might only spend $5,000. But the university has it set up to where everybody has to have the same equal amounts. They treat all the agents equally.
Right. Okay. And these are just questions we get because
Okay.
every time we
Right.
turn around, we get questions from people. Why are my taxes in Boyle County so high? Why are they so high? And
Sure.
so, you know, everything that hits that tax bill, you know, equates to why people are asking that question.
Right,
So
right.
between fire, between library, between the schools and everything else, you know, and this is this is kind of one of those ones where,
Sure.
you know, it's a high tax, and I don't know how many people in the actual county utilize the
And
service.
I'm glad you went there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, just like, for example, last night, there was almost, I think maybe one meeting room that was not utilized last night. And there have been several nights since I've been there, that every meeting room in the building had something going on.
Yeah.
I actually love it, you know.
Well, that's great.
We have local factories that come in and do trainings. There's constantly extension programs going on, sewing and things like that. We have non-extension, a lot of non-extension people using the facility for meeting rooms. And I love to see that. I love to see people drive by and see a parking lot full of cars and ask me, say, hey, what's going on out there at the extension office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, since you're new to this office, what things would you like to bring to this extension office that maybe we haven't had before or done away with that maybe you did in Garrett or whatever? Do you see some things that you're really going to recommend to the board that we start tackling for this office that's worked in other offices you worked in, or do you see some deficiencies? Do you see? Give us your take. I mean,
I'm still kind of in the new side of all
Yeah.
that. I'm still listening and learning a lot. And I think that's, like I said, I think we're going to put that long range committee together.
Good.
And that gives people a chance to dream and think big, you know, kind of think outside the box. I hate to use that, but you know, think about where we're at now. Think about where we were at 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Think about where we want to be in 10 years, where we want to be in 15 years, and look at some community needs. You know, is there more meeting space needed? Is there more what's needed out there that we can provide?
Any chance you think about possibly including the public in that 10-year plan, where you might have some listening sessions? We've been pretty successful with that, with a lot of other things that we've been doing throughout the county and the city does, where they kind of have some open meetings to the public, you know.
It's a great idea. And that's why we're going to use the Extension Council, because it's multiple programmatic. You know, the people that are on the Extension Council, there are people that cover the ag side and the horticulture side and the FCS side and you know, the arts and things like that. To get everybody's, try to get everybody's input. And that's a good idea. You know, we could put that on Facebook, or we could have an open meeting.
They work.
To get ideas.
They really work. Yeah.
And it gives the opportunity for the taxpayer and the public to come into the
For some
facility
input.
and get an idea of exactly what goes on too.
Yeah.
So we have a very active community that likes to be involved in
Sure.
many things, and so, you know, the more exposure we can get there
Right.
would be fantastic.
And within Extension, not just in Boyle County, but across the state, we all say that we're the best kept secret. And I would love to see more people use it. I love to see new entities, new people come in. all the
The
time.
gentleman right there to your left is our economic development president. And I would love for you possibly to schedule some time with him to come out to speak to the board as well. So it's JJ. So exchange cards if you don't mind. So
You heard me mention the 80 trees the first year we moved here.
82.
82 actually,
Yeah,
yes.
I got you.
See, he's
Keep you
on
honest.
this side, he understands.
I don't know much of the numbers.
City boy that I am, but never again to be, I had planted a dozen 6-foot pine trees. Our soil is so deep that I was down like this before I hit clay. And therefore the first wind came and I had to stake the trees much more significantly than I thought I would. With that in mind, and we can't really address this at this point, but a burning issue in this community is I'm putting in solar and hundreds of panels. I live right across, not me, I live right across the road, and I've got this magnificent historic home, and the glint in my eyes will be so severe that I lose the quality of my existence. Does the extension office get involved in that type of issue? Because it's going on right now in at least one of our districts where that debate is underway. Do you have any role in, because we want to preserve our soil for feeding the world, and yet we need power as well.
Correct. And I've heard a little bit about that since I've come into Boyle County.
You've got it in spades in Garrett County.
And coming from Garrett County, yes, just a mile or so away from the extension office over there, the 400-acre farm.
Right.
That they put up solar panels. So the debate, it's a tough one. And, you know, as the extension office, we are a neutral entity, and we have to look at both sides of things. And again, I just need more information about what's going on here in Boyle County with the solar panels and things.
With your wonderful space out there and the recommendation of Magistrate Cullen, there might not be another larger venue should either side wish to call for an even forum to be conducted. I'm just, thinking it. I get questions all the time because I have, as Mr. Cullen doesn't like me to say, that little blue area behind me here. Right now, there doesn't seem to be any activity in my district, but there has been in the past.
Yeah, and I think like in Garrett County, that one big solar farm went in, but there was a lot of farmers that were being approached to lease that property and things like that. And I know some farmers that did take the leases, but nothing's gone past that as far as any construction or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm pleased that you use the neutrality issue, because all the more that helps on your ground to make it clear to the public that you have to stay neutral on it, and that both sides could have an equal opportunity to make their case.
Tom, Julie had a question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Actually, I did not have a question, I had a statement. I've listened to you on the radio for as long as you've been on the radio, and I never met you, and it's so nice to put a face with a voice.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
glad you're
As county
representing us.
director, I know I'm no longer on the radio.
Oh, I know.
I do take Joe some sausage biscuits from Hardee's every now and then.
Very nice of you. He loves his biscuits.
Well, do you know Julie Wagner?
I do not.
I'm guessing it's
I hope you
Robert's
take those
radio
biscuits
station
to
or
your
not?
husband, Robert,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Robert's her husband.
I go with Robert.
at
Okay.
the station.
Robert Wagner at the station.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We only accept this report. There's no vote required. Any other comments?
No. Any ability to help reduce those taxes would be helpful. Especially when it comes to JJ's job, because when people look here to relocate their businesses, one of the things they look at is taxes, but also quality of life. And so if we can get a good balance there where their taxes aren't really high, but they have this added benefit of something that not a lot of states offer, that's where we win. So.
Yeah. And Trilly's not here today, but I really love her input. Very active with the district board, and love her input on things too.
Well, now I have a hard time taking you seriously.
And just like Columbo, one more thing. Most of us here every year go to the annual breakfast the Farm Bureau has out at your wonderful facility, and Spencer Quinn has been very impressive on just how important agriculture is in this county. It's just phenomenal, the engine that we get from your work and his and all the farmers that we have. So
I'll follow that. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
appreciate you coming.
I'll call you.
Yeah.
I'll call
We
you.
need to get together.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Jay.
All right, we wouldn't have video, audio, or anything else were it not for this gentleman, Bill Nichols.
That's all right, we don't have it today.
I know, right? So bragging.
There's two things here that if you'll take one of each and pass those around.
And by the way, what county is that break-in that's
Well, I got a report this morning at 7:20
flood-related, folks?
that they are waiting for the Kentucky River to recede so they can get to the area to repair the fiber.
So clarification, are we or are we not going to be available to the public to see no proceedings today?
These proceedings will be seen by the public, but at a later time. You remember how you used to watch the Kentucky basketball games at 11 o'clock?
Not me,
Fiscal
I'm-
court meeting at 11. We are recording this meeting, so it will be posted once I get it recorded, and someplace where I can upload it
So
fast.
folks are not able to watch right now.
And I'm moving this back because we can't see magistrate sleepers.
That was a request of the public.
So that's one thing I wanted to report to you is anybody that is listening to this broadcast that is affected by Kentucky Wired or the Accelicom service with the fiber, we are going to be down for a while until the river waters recede far enough that they don't feel it's hazardous to go in and repair that fiber that is broken. I apologize for the slow internet. First thing I'd like to talk to you all about is I would like a motion to move forward with the networking at the Fred Kane building. This is something we need to get in place that once we get people over there, they'll be able to work. And to that point, if we could get a motion for it and then a second, and then we can discuss it.
Do I have a motion
Hold
for
on.
the Fred Kane activities?
Do we get a dollar amount, or do we get, are we just gonna blanketly, what are you asking for?
I have three different, I'm asking for internet service from T-Mobile. I'm asking for a network project of $6,700 for the solid waste recycling building, and then a $5,500 project for the second building, which they don't all have to be done at the exact same time. The reason for me coming forward to do this now is there's a promise that parts for networking and computer parts will be rising in cost here very soon,
Quickly, yeah.
to the tune of 35 to 40%. So,
If I can pause you for a moment.
Yes, sir.
Counselor tells me we need three separate motions, so if you would
Okay.
state the amount and the corporation.
then the first one I would like to discuss is I'd like a motion to move forward with T-Mobile's proposal to provide internet services. Actually, it will be to both buildings, but we'll handle the transfer from building to building through the networking process. For the equipment cost of $1,485, and then the first year service, which is $354.96. But we could do the monthly service times 3 to get us to the next fiscal year if we want to do it that way. So that's roughly about $1,600.
If you'll accept that rather complicated motion in terms of the fact.
It's all on this page right
It's
here.
all, that's why I wanted to make sure we were
But
looking
the
at
word is what I'm talking about. It will be on the recorded message, and we'll clarify with the language in the minutes. Do I hear such a motion?
Well, yeah, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Jay. Discussion.
So we're going with T-Mobile, not AT&T. Is there a reason, is the T-Mobile able to service out there and AT&T is not, or?
I think they could both service us out there. One of the things that I've noticed about T-Mobile is, with T-Mobile and FirstNet, I think that we got two brothers of the same price battling in the same neighborhood. However, some of the things I like about T-Mobile better at this point are the speeds and the bandwidth on their service is a little faster.
Okay.
And that's why I'm recommending T-Mobile. A similar thing with the AT&T FirstNet, came in within $1 or $2 of exactly the same amount. I mean, if you all have a preference and prefer to go to FirstNet, we can certainly do that.
I just want to make sure that that T-Mobile is going to be reliable, and because I've had branches off of their service before, and it's spotty depending on where you're at and what you're doing.
Before being when?
I mean, when it was all under Sprint. I mean, now it's
Right.
T-Mobile with Sprint.
T-Mobile has made a huge investment in their backbone network. One of the things that I personally experienced with T-Mobile is they gave me one of their hotspots to try throughout the county, which it did well. And of course, I live in Magistrate Ellis's district, and with that hotspot, with what it could get from AT&T or its old services, I was running about, for those that know, about 10 megabyte down, 5 megabyte up, which is okay, it gets done. They just recently turned on the tower in Perryville. I now get a gig down and 50 meg up on the T-Mobile line, and I have not seen speeds like that with AT&T.
Okay.
T-Mobile is also getting ready to, I believe that will happen this year. There are 3 towers, one in Forkland, one in Marion County, and Casey County, that will triangulate our southwestern part of the county, that we'll see a significant increase in band coverage there as well.
And perhaps
So I felt they were worth an effort to try.
Perhaps at a lesser level, it would really cover the entire county, correct?
Right now, they do a pretty good job, except for that very southwest corner, and I think this triangulation of these 3 towers is going to make us a pink county. Sorry.
Julie?
I do have one thing you need to be aware, and you may not know this. My recommendation is we approve this so we can purchase everything before the tariffs kick in. However, we have a serious leak problem with the roof out there, which I'm going to bring up at my report.
Okay.
So be aware that the rains we had, there was significant water. We're halting any kind of construction until we get these leaks dealt with. So I don't want to see electronics being run out there and then.
Well, no, I agree with that statement. This is just something
Get
that,
everything purchased.
if nothing else, just to get the equipment purchased, and then we can deal with putting it in later.
Yes.
The main reason for this is, if I wait 2 or 3 months to purchase the equipment, when we'd actually put it in, we're going to pay 40% more.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Right.
Well, true, they're still talking about that, so.
Possibly. Most likely we'll see a 0 on it. Go ahead.
Well, that's why you don't make the decisions, and I just present the material.
We have the ability, it's in the budget, so that's completely fine. So, okay.
But my recommendation at this point, I personally, and I would like to, T-Mobile's done a lot with, I don't know if, I'm sure y'all do remember the tornadoes in the western part of the state that we had when they were there. T-Mobile was first on the scene in 4 hours after that incident and had communications set up and going. They also offer that service even if you're not a customer, free of charge. I think that's worth a shot. Let's see how they do.
As long as it's been tested and you're fine with it, I completely trust your judgment on it. I just want to make sure, because there has been issues in the past, and so.
I understand. I think that it's a different company than it was in the past.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've always liked T-Mobile. It was when they teamed up with Sprint really worried me, but T-Mobile has actually pushed, has been very consumer friendly.
I think the team-up was just kind of a cover-up till they could just go.
Yeah, anyway.
Take them
So what we're approving here is $1,485 for the total equipment cost, and then you wanted 3 months?
We can just do the monthly on that. Either way, however you all want to handle that monthly, that's up to you. But
just so we know, it's 3 months.
The monthly may not start until next fiscal season.
Right, yeah. But 3 months, like you said, would be $1,064.88, just so you have it for the record. So, all right, cool.
The monthly would be what?
What?
No, the 3 months would be
sorry.
$1,064.88.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion?
No.
That's
No,
the yearly
that'd be
amount.
3 years.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
$29
yearly
a month.
That's a total equipment.
It'd be another,
look at that.
you're talking about another $90, so you're talking about $1,575.
Why are we talking about $90 then?
Any other discussion on
Because
the
I have to
motion?
bring all these in front of you.
That's right. No.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Thank you very much on that first motion, and we will handle it between the tape and the notes that contain the statement.
The second part of that project is, the next 3 pages is the front building, or the solid waste recycling building, which the reason that it's a little bit, I'd like a motion to move forward with purchasing the equipment for the networking in the solid waste recycling building, which is a total of $6,794.96.
Make that motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Sleeper. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Any discussion?
Or, excuse me, discussion first, yes, thank you, sir.
And we don't need to bid this out because it's under.
It's under 10, and ProTech is a company that I think that at some point moving forward, I think Julie and I are going to work on preferring them simply because they have done most of our networking and they are intertwined in our network enough that, like I've always told everybody, I always try to factor in the bus. And Brad goes, what's the bus? The bus that hits Bill. And believe me, that, folks, if something happens to me today, you're covered.
Okay, good deal.
So, if we could, did we vote?
No, we have to vote.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign?
And the final piece of this pie is the next 2 pages, which is actually is the cover for the networking in the second building that's in the back. The reason it's not as high as most of our firewall and everything is in that first part. We will simply then at this point transmit our signal point to point ourselves with our own network. And that way we only have to have one internet service coming in there instead of 2. So that'll save us about $30 a month plus the additional $1,500 it would have cost to put it in. We shouldn't see any decrease in service as well. To put the network in that place, I'd like a motion to approve the $5,540.39 for the second building.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay, seconded by Magistrate Cullen. Discussion. Any comments?
Comments, discussions.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Motion carried.
All right, that covers Fred King. Next thing I'd like to talk about is, in our budget talks, we talked about the Civic Plus Optimized program, which is a form building program that is encrypted from end to end that we will be using for our, as they call them, SOFIs, our financial agreements that we do, that we can do these online. It will also be used for several other things. One of the things that Civic Plus would allow us to do, if you want to, if we want to get started on this right away, they would be willing to go into the contract with us that you have here. It's 3 pages. The difference is, obviously, they're not going to do it for free. It runs, I think they quoted us at about $12,000 for the year, and to tack on the other 3 months, it would be $15,000. However, they will not bill us until July 1. So in other words, we could get started, but it is an increase of $3,000. If we don't think we're going to use it before July 1, I'd say let's not do this and just go with the contract of $12,000 at the beginning of July 1.
Yeah, we don't need it before July.
Make a motion, we start July 1 with Civic Plus optimized.
At this point, it's up to you if you want to make a motion, but I'd
I
just say
was
no.
wondering if we need one, yeah.
Just,
No
we'll
motion.
not even say we discussed this.
So we'll just deal with it come July 1?
We'll just do it July 1 when it comes up. It was something I just wanted to present to you all, that it was a possibility, but if we're not going to use it, it's not worth it. I can't see spending $3,000 in July just because we're going to play around with it before then.
Are we going to be ready to go come July 1 then? Or we still have to spend some time?
We'll have a little bit of spin up time, but by the time that we'll be ready for what, if nothing else, when the SOFIs are due, we'll be
They go out in
well
December.
before that.
They go out in December.
They go out in December. We should, I would say,
Yeah.
they're talking about 5 hours of training, so.
Yeah.
Once it's set up and done, and they already have, that's something to help with this process, I've already sent them the document for that form. So, creating that form, getting it out online and ready to go is probably gonna take minutes,
Okay.
for lack of a better term.
Well, I mean, this is going to save us a ton in postage, especially with all.
I think so, and then there'll be a lot of other things we'll discover that we'll be able to do with it, even things like dog licenses, permits, other things that we could do It'll all be encrypted, and and I can designate who has access to it and who doesn't.
Well, it'll be nice because I'm hoping that we can talk with the judge and kind of get a meeting together of, we've purchased a lot of software and software subscriptions recently through various departments. And there might be some overlapping there.
There could be.
And so, you know, we could kind of get everything, all the minds in the same room and work on this to make sure we're optimizing, utilizing everything that we have to the
Absolutely,
best
I agree.
visibility and not overdoing it. So, I mean, I think that would be, if you got time, that
I'll
would be
make
great
time.
for you to.
Not the
kinda-
next 3 or 4 days, but
No.
So are we gonna approve this contract?
Doesn't
No.
sound like it.
No, I'll bring this contract up to you in June
Okay.
for approval for the new budget year.
Got it.
Great, thank you, Bill.
That was that. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you all about are your iPads. I have been talking with T-Mobile and with FirstNet. Right now we're paying about $20 a month per iPad on this. I can get new 11 iPads for $49 each and drop that rate to $15 a month. And T-Mobile offered me the same price, but I had to buy 25 iPads. So my issue with that right away is, okay, I'm gonna have 10 or 12 sitting on the shelf before I get them deployed for a month or two. That's
Plus
another.
the fee.
Plus, yeah, well, you got the fee. The nice thing with T-Mobile is they charge more. It's $150 for their iPads, but they will give us a bill credit for it. So it would turn out to be free, but we're still gonna pay and I know this is pennies compared to the grand budget of everything, but that's what I do. You're still gonna spend $400 or $500 for nothing.
Yeah. No, that
in
makes
services. So my thought, at least right now, unless we go with, you know, a major overhaul of EMS or whatever, I'd like to go ahead and upgrade your all's iPads. Most of these iPads have been in service for probably 5 or 6 years. I know they've been in service as long as you've been sitting, because we got them in first right when you started. So I would like to go ahead and get these serviced in and redone. And what that allows us to do is, with the new time system, we need time clocks in other places. These iPads will be recycled out to Fred Kane, out to EMS. I've already got one of my old one I've got out at the jail right now as a time clock. I'll put a time clock here in the courthouse that will help people be able to punch in and out in a more efficient manner. And last service that we used, those time clocks were about $1,600 a piece.
Yeah, sounds good.
I make the motion, we approve the update of the iPads if we need that.
Motion by Magistrate Gay.
Second, if you want it, Bill.
Yes, I do. I just want to make sure that we understand with the iPads then, of course, I have to buy a different case because the iPad that you're going to receive in the 11 is larger and brighter and better and all that good stuff. But you're looking at roughly about another, I think it's about another $350 for cases.
So I guess that's the question that we all need to talk about.
Need a motion, second.
Oh, they did. This.
We already.
Magistrate Gay, Magistrate Cullen.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So I just wanted to discuss the full of what we're talking about getting into.
And that 350 total?
Well, we got $50 for the iPads, which will come in on the FirstNet bill. And then we have the cases, which is about $365 that would be an Amazon order. So about $600.
I guess what I was trying to get at was, does everybody utilize this full setup of the keyboard, or are you wanting just like a regular case?
That's true. We can. I mean, if you think that you might use it differently in a different way, we can certainly do that. I just assumed, and I shouldn't have done it.
No, I know that you know.
I like the full keyboard.
I like the keyboard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Magistrate Sleeper, you have any comment?
He's sleeping. I don't use the keyboard as much, but that's all right.
Clarification, Bill, because you and I talked before the meeting, especially with what we've seen that T-Mobile is delivering at this point. Were you going to make one more shot of giving them a...
One of the things that I'll stand up here and promise you in any case is before I do any purchase, I will always double check and make sure we're getting the best deal that we can. So
Great.
yes, I will talk to, the most that I think that this would cost us in the long run is the $49 plus the cases that we need to get for them. However, we will be saving times 5, which will be saving an additional $25 a month for the next 3 months, then after that as well. So, you know, we'll be knocking those prices down a little bit. Those prices will go down to $15 a month for each of those, which is, for unlimited data, that's pretty good.
I've never had a case for this. When I got it, it was just this, and so I just.
That is the case.
Oh, this is the case?
Yeah.
Okay.
That little iPad will pop right out of that case and
So-
be just a tablet if you want it to.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I had that one problem a long time ago I called you about.
Yeah.
If,
Yes, sir.
say that you do this with FirstNet, and at some point we switch over to T-Mobile, are these gonna be transferable over there, or are we gonna have to like purchase?
If we decided that you wanted to, or we could even, I'm sure that I can work out something with T-Mobile. They would just probably supply us a new one. One of the things that I'm also working on with T-Mobile and FirstNet is getting a dual SIM iPad set up for our EMS people. What that would do is, in the event, especially in the event of a disaster or something like that, if we lost one of those carriers, they would have the other carrier as a backup on that one iPad. And I actually have the 2 reps talking to each other about making this happen. Because with the new i11s, they are what they call eSIM type things. They don't have the little SIM card anymore. It's all done digitally. And there is a way you can have several eSIMs in each one of those iPads. One could be from T-Mobile, one could be from FirstNet, but it would allow them coverage no matter where they are, that the more predominant service would take over.
Any other questions? I've got one.
Yes, sir.
Between the sessions that you had in here with the young lady from Cincinnati, with the room full 2 or 3 times, she and you have impressed upon me that the sword of Damocles is coming closer to our chest with what we get on the internet that we don't need to open. If you all are getting information from a vendor who just can't wait for you to sign up for the education classes, including how to communicate is one of them over the past several months, I've had a growing suspicion, especially since it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and if you'll join us this evening at 7 o'clock for $110, you've gotten them.
Oh, yeah.
I checked that out with CACO, I checked that out with KMCA. There's an inferred claim, no, an absolute claim of gaining hours from DLG, and other inferred claims about the value of doing that for more money than we usually pay for virtual meetings. They have no idea what's going on there. So.
Did you forward them the email? Did you forward them the email?
Oh, no, I gave them, I literally took a screenshot of their logo and all their information, and they both got back within 24 hours and said, we know nothing of that individual or her corporation.
One of the things with emails that you can do, you can open up the email. In other words, see what's inside the email. If you have links, if you have attachments, and you don't know where they came from, don't click on them.
So the verbiage will not get you in
The
trouble.
verbiage will not get you. You have to make an action to either a link or, and I know it may say, you know, something.pdf. Well, the minute you click on it, buddy, it's an executable.
Well, Magistrate Cullen tried to press that on me about 4 years ago, but I'm still very sensitive.
And to be honest with you, the county has fallen victim more to the people that say, hey, I need to change my deposit. Hey, I need you to do this for me real quick.
Oh.
You know, hey, this is Magistrate Tom Ellis. I want you to do something for me that's very discreet. I'm in a meeting. Don't call me. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
And they get back and forth, and before you know it, the person's out $1,400. And I'm happy to report, though, that got resolved and they got all their money back.
Oh, thank goodness.
So Tom, I'm looking at the email right now from this Angelia Whitlock, and it's not through CACO or KMCA. It's all of the hours that we get are approved through the Kentucky Department of Local Government. So that's probably who you need to forward this to. And
Apparently, KACO and KMC checked with DLG and.
Because it says right here, each course is approved by the Kentucky Department for Local Government and qualifies for 2 hours of continuing education.
You want to make one more follow-up?
Yeah, I'll send it over to Robert and ask him.
Yeah.
But who does it come from?
Angelia Whitlock. Angelia Whitlock from Whitlock Consulting US. She's out of Kentucky. So. DLG approved webinars.
I would just contact DLG and say, is this really approved webinars?
I'll forward it over to Teresa.
Make the phone call. Always make the phone call.
Are you coordinating with Casey on this protection that they are doing now when someone from Taiwan is trying to take the deed to our homes? Are you familiar with that?
He has not approached me to do anything with him on that.
I've got all the paperwork right here to fill out for mine because this is the stealing of your home, and then guess what? You've got a $80,000 mortgage that they took out on your behalf. So,
mine's mortgaged to the hilt already. Good luck.
All right.
Anything else? Any questions for me?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor.
Oh, sorry.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good discussion.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Bill.
Mike Rogers, there you are.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First, we have on the agenda the request to consider portable radios. Of course, every EMS provider in the world has a radio on their hip, law enforcement, first responder. We haven't purchased a radio since 2008, so I'm pretty sure that was a grant when we got those radios. So I don't think the county has purchased radios since I've been here. I don't think. Don't hold me on that, but it's been a long time. But the quotes from Southern Communication, they're $1,040 and 85 cents a piece, and we need 35, one for all full-time employees. That'll give us about 6 backups that we can just use if something happens. And it's not a budgeted item, but we do have some money in the budget for that to purchase it. So.
It would come out of the motor vehicle line.
Yeah.
We've got $575,000 encumbered. We only need $490,000 of that for ambulances, so there's a little surplus there.
Okay, so yeah, with that available in some ways in kind of EMS equipment, I'd make the motion that we approve this request.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay, seconded by Magistrate Cullen. Discussion.
Just hope these new ones last as long as those.
Yeah. And Julie, I know some of the procurement things have changed. Their state contract price. Is there anything else we need to do with
Probably
that?
a copy of the master agreement that the state has with that piece of equipment listed in there. That's what I need.
More discussion? Comments? Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
The next agenda item is just the mutual aid discussion with Mercer County. We talked about it a little bit this morning. I think we're going to go on.
Yeah, I think I would just add, and Magistrate Cullen can jump in here too, that in the discussion this morning, our committee meeting, it was that the committee and Chief Rogers and County Attorney Herring and Judge Bottom, we all need to get together and discuss this issue, and then we can report back to the full court, and then hopefully have some conversation with Mercer County related to this issue.
And speaking of mutual aid, you might describe what your guys are doing in Frankfurt.
Yeah, so we, I guess it was early Sunday morning, we got a call from the Kentucky Board of EMS, Director Sloan. They needed mutual aid for Frankfurt for the flood, the historic flood they're having. Our task was to have just a command staff that would do a strike force of 5 other ambulance services, Scott County, Jessamine County, Bourbon County, Harris, and Spencer. And we were attached to the Fairfax, Virginia USAR team, and had the water breach the wall, we were going to evacuate downtown. So we spent, we were supposed to be there 24 hours, but we got released early that morning, about 10 a.m. So I did the first shift, me and Mo, and then Michael Mangley and Devin, our our captains, did the second shift, and then Tim and Brad Ellis did the last shift, and they're the ones that got left early. But luckily, we didn't have to do anything, but we had plans to, if we needed to do it, that we were ready to go. So, but thank goodness it all turned out well, and
The wall held.
of course, yeah, the wall held, and we're gonna obviously apply all that. Brian's going to help us do the paperwork so we can get all the reimbursement back for that, for main hours and fuel and all that stuff.
Great service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mike. All right. Julie?
Before I start into what I have, I wanted to tell you that Judge Bottom had planned to thank Brian for everything he did this weekend. Have you slept yet? I'm not sure where. But that was her intention, if she was being here, is to say thank you for all you did. And I don't know how many miles you drove.
We dodged the bullet again.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily here in Boyle County, we have, like Mike said, we've reached out to all surrounding counties and then beyond, for offering any type of mutual aid that we can. So, and Mercer County is back up and running.
I saw that.
So.
When you and I were discussing things this weekend, you had mentioned, one of the major contributing factors on why we dodged a bullet. You want to bring that up, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, I say we, and I'm talking to all of us as a county, we're pretty proactive about, keeping our culverts and stuff clean around the county, as far as drainage issues. Public Works does a great job staying on top of that, and even the state highway guys here in Boyle County, they do a pretty good job. Anytime I call them, they'll go right out and clean something out. If it looks like it's going to be an issue in the next rain event, they'll go out and clean it out. Not saying that other counties haven't. I mean, that, with the amount of rain we had, we were really fortunate that really all we had was a washout on Crawford Hall Road and a partial slide on Highway 1108. So other than that, we were in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 3 things, actually. The first is the tax credit consultant, and we have received a contract, it was put up in your drive last night, from Jacob Pankey, and this is to apply and administer the tax credits for renovations on the courthouse. He is willing to do the entire project for us, and that includes all the preservation paperwork and everything, and I have not done one of these for a very long time. His fee is minimum $1,000 up to 3.5% of the net sale proceeds of the tax credit. So how it works is if we have $1.2 million, and my math isn't going to work, but just give me a little bit of leeway here. Let's say the Heritage Council gives us $250,000 in tax credits. Well, we don't file taxes, so what do you do with those credits? You sell them to a bank, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 85 cents on the dollar. So let's go with 80 cents on the dollar. That would be $200,000 that we would get in cash to offset the expenses of the courthouse clock tower work. It's a great program. It's more money than you're going to get from most grants. The 3.5% would equal about $7,000, and that is from first application to final approvals. So that seems to be reasonable.
What if it's denied?
Then there is no,
No fee?
no. But we've already had the Heritage Council down here. They encouraged us to apply. They encouraged us to apply as of July 1st. So we could get more. There's state credits, federal credits. We could get more. We would apply for more. Let's just see what we can get. The most it would cost us is 3.5% of the net sale proceeds of the tax credits. So it would be on the cash piece of it, not the full credit. The one thing that you have to do if you get tax credits is you have to follow the Secretary of Interior standards for preservation. We would be doing that anyways to save the front part of the courthouse. So it seems like a good program for us to do. It's a great demonstration project for the community, saves the clock tower. They have agreed that the bell has to come out. They've already told us that, get the bell out of there.
And they're good with us
I was worried about that.
Leaving it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And memorializing it.
Yes, yes, which is huge because we had them come because I was worried that but it doesn't change the exterior of the clock tower, and that's the most important part. They are not in favor of any kind of alternative materials to rebuild a replica cupola. That would not qualify. So if we want to use this, we're going to have to follow the Secretary of Interior standards. Jacob is very good at this. You all know Jacob Pankey. He's done it for other people.
You need to explain.
Oh, he is out there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. He told me he wasn't going to be here.
Well, he can tell you who he is.
Well,
Paul.
let's get him in here. I did not know that.
I don't think.
You've been off.
Okay. He told me he
Yeah.
couldn't come.
He was up there.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve this
Yeah, thank you.
contract.
second.
Motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Boulder. Discussion.
Do we have like a resume from him on what else he's done? Because in here, it's very heavy that whatever he does, he wants to be able to utilize for promoting himself going down the forward. So I'm surprised that we don't have anything to look at that where he's done projects.
I mean, I can get you some. He's done them for, like Willis Russell House, some Boyle County projects. He does them for Boyle Landmark Trust. I'm happy to get that for you if you'd like it.
The contract, as I'm hearing, would be not stem to stern of the building,
No,
but
just
the old
The
section.
preservation pieces of it, yes.
And only the old section of it.
Right. This piece of it is not eligible because it's not 50 years old.
Chris, what do you think?
He has not looked at it yet, so it would
I mean, I
be-
have seen it.
Oh, you have, good.
Is he on any, like, historical boards or something here that could be conflicting with?
Not that I'm aware of. He was here when we met with the Heritage Council. They were very pleased that we were talking with Jacob. They've worked with him, of course, on the Boyle Landmark Trust stuff that they've done. I mean, there's nobody else that does this like Jacob does. He's really kind of found his own little niche side business. If you want to have him come, I can try to schedule him to come, but
Some urgency, though, to getting this done.
yeah.
No, I
Do
said,
whatever you want me to
said he
do.
was an expert, so.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
interested in what he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, okay.
From my experience, and you guys were here too, he did a remarkably good job working for us 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. But reading through is like, client testimonials, consultant may request testimonials from the county regarding work performed. I just figured since he had that in there, if he's done other ones, he would have provided some, almost like a resume to us, is kind of what I was thinking. And along that point, if we decide we don't want to give him a testimonial, do we have to? I mean, it says consultant may request testimonial from county regarding the work performed under this agreement to be used in marketing and promotion materials. Does that give us, does that give us an out to say, yeah, we don't really want to provide those things, or does that kind of bind us?
He may not want one from us if he doesn't do a good job.
I understand that.
Which I'm sure he's gonna do fine, but I thought, well,
But he may think he did a good job, and we may think differently, and so
I mean, that's to hit, be to his detriment, I guess.
Yeah. Would we individually, if we were to elect not to do it as fiscal court, would we have the latitude to write a recommendation?
What do you mean?
You're saying individually?
We're members of the court, but we're fiduciaries and citizens.
Yeah.
I don't agree that we should stay away from a fiscal court endorsement. But if we did, I'd like the opportunity to assess what's happened and do it individually.
I mean, I think that's something that if the fiscal court desires to endorse him or give some kind of endorsement or testimonial, that you all talk about it first and then maybe
Sure.
decide who will be the person to do that or whatever, not just
looking for an option.
This is probably, we're talking 2028, 2027, 2028 before you get your final sign-offs if the work were to start in 2026. So we're
Yeah,
talking down the road, maybe.
How much are we thinking that we're
I would
possibly
say we'll
get?
probably get $250,000 if it's a,
Not anymore. I was thinking.
I don't know. Here's
Given the
how-
scope of our services,
The state got, I think he said 10 million in tax credits. If we get our quotes together pretty quick before July and get our application in, we could get more. It's all based on what this is gonna cost, and we don't really know that yet. And with steel prices, we don't know. And that's the problem, but the more we get, the better off we are, because it's cash we don't have to spend out of reserve or bond.
Yeah, so I like it, and I
Yeah.
think Jacob is
Jacob's a good
obviously
guy.
passionate about
Yeah.
our community and this building in particular, and
Well,
so
He knows a lot about this building. I was
Yeah.
surprised. He's telling us stuff we didn't know, so that was
Right.
kind of encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just had questions, that's all.
Yeah.
Call the
And I will
question.
get his resume. I will do that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
At the budget workshop last week, we talked about a possible treatment to the roof at the Fred Kane building. Little did we know, we were gonna get 7 inches of rain or whatever it ended up being. And after having repairs done to the roof, it leaks horribly. The skylights, and we just need to cut our losses, I think, and look at other options. I would like to bid that out and look for proposals for this new treatment. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to John.
Yeah, and he told me something, and I don't think it was real positive.
Okay.
So, but I can't remember exactly what he told me.
We're gonna have to either tear both roofs off and start over, or try something like this. I don't know, but I think we do need to put together an RFP and get some, we can't do any more drywall or anything until we get these leaks done, because
Alright.
it's just wasting our money. So
That's-
that was the first thing, is I just wanna get your blessing to go ahead and start working on an RFP for
Please.
that.
There are several sites on the internet of these type organizations, and I think you've even said.
Yeah, he mentioned a TPO. Seems like
Um,
a TPO, we've got
yeah,
one.
I've looked into it because
This is
in my
EVF,
lifetime,
it's called.
I don't want to have to repair a roof that's only
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah.
And they're very encouraging about the warranty on them and everything else, so
EIFS.
it's going to be tremendously inexpensive compared to, I can't even imagine the labor of taking that roof off.
This is $570,000 to do both roofs. It's $577,000, I think. I'd like to see what other options are out
Yes.
there. I'm looking at how much we're gonna end up bonding for this building, so, but really, we don't need to do any more until we get this fixed.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is Wolford Road. Judge rode out Wolford Road Friday morning, and it was underwater. The bridge looked like it was gonna be covered with water. I went out at lunchtime, the water had receded, however, the road is damaged. So I would like to go ahead and get the geotechnical engineer that we need to help us decide what we're gonna do with that creek. What's happened is the creek was running this way, and it's now running this way. It is eroded, I don't know,
A lot.
50 yards maybe.
Yeah, I've got
Half of the
constituent
ball
calls
field.
on this.
I've got all that, I can put together
Yeah.
a packet, so you all, if you all wanna see what's
I've seen it,
happened.
yeah.
It's
over the years
significant
there.
erosion out there. So
It
either
is.
we need to reroute the creek back to the way it was, Roger has an option of running a new road and connecting the houses that are affected to Tarlick Road, which would mean a whole new address change. But the FEMA people said you gotta get a geotechnical before we can fund a grant. So I'd like to go ahead and get that RFP out and get that started so we know what to budget. Didn't want to do that without your permission.
And I don't know the.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay, second made by Magistrate Bodnar.
Yeah, because we need somebody like that
Yes.
to let us know, is the
Yes.
creek gonna continue to
Yes.
move?
Yeah, well, they moved the pole, the light pole, how many times?
There's an electric pole there that's been moved 5 times. in the
It's
past
2 yards
7
from
and a
being
half
moved.
Yeah, so somebody's
Yeah.
gonna have to advise us on that, because it sounds like we have to just keep moving. If the creek's gonna
Yes.
continue to move,
Yes.
we gotta keep
It's
moving.
really severe.
It is, and then the neighbors down around, they're putting fill in it, and it's like, well, what are they doing that we can't?
Well, how
So,
did you get to Tarlick? Because
Well, we
there's
put-
an old road bed.
And we put 250 tons of shot rock 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
in
they
there
did.
too, which that held, but the shot rock is holding, but the river's still trying to, it's still trying to cut another course.
It
I'm
has-
telling you, water is a powerful.
Yes, if you
Yeah.
could see the
Powerful
blacktop,
thing.
you would, that's exactly what I came back and told Shirley. Water is very powerful.
Yeah,
Just
water will
like-
do what it wants to do.
Yeah,
Right.
so, okay, I'll work on that and get that out and get a price back on what it's gonna cost. Thank you.
While we're with you,
We
why
need
don't
to
you
vote.
give us anything, oh yeah, I'm sorry, we need a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign?
Now, am I looking at just 2 residences out on that
There's
road?
two, yeah.
There's 2?
Mhm.
One?
There's really one, but there are
There's
two
one
homes.
that is, there, yeah, one that's across the bridge. The county bridge out there is servicing the one house.
The Pharaohs. And then
Is that
there's
the one right off
another.
of Forkland, or is it the one back
No,
further?
it's the one at the end of
Yeah.
Fort
So that's the one you're saying possibly take Tarlick.
Yes.
That would, they do own property over to within 50 feet of Tarlick Road.
Where people live close together.
That would be like,
Julie.
I've kind of ran some figures on it. It would be around 1,800 feet to put a new driveway in for them, for that
Do the
house.
round robin, yeah.
Which the flip side of that is if we were able to put in a new road over there, then we could, then the bridge issue becomes.
Yeah, because the only other option is to put another bridge off
Yeah.
Forkland Road, and then you're dealing with bridges again, so.
Yeah.
That's why we need a quote. We need to know what's the best investment of our money, putting in a new road or rerouting the creek, so.
And if, I mean, any of you that want to go out there, sometimes I can kind of take you and show you what has happened out there.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's
Perfect.
something.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you. At this point, we will go into
We have
session.
public safety center discussion before executive.
Oh, I'm sorry,
session.
okay. Julie's continuing.
I think it's time for us to decide what we're doing with a contractor, and I feel like the judge would like to get everybody to agree on who you want to hire and make a motion and get this moving forward, so I'll turn it over to you.
I mean, I'll start. I first want to say thanks to Julie for going through all the things and narrowing it down and setting up the meetings, etc. I feel like we had a really great group of contractors and architects and engineers and etc.
This top one.
That have shown interest in this project, and to me, you know, it really is always hard decisions in these things, because I think we do have a lot of really quality companies in our state and that can do this project. I mean, personally, and this is, I know we had some discussion after the session the other day, and you know, I have some strong feelings about one of our entities that I have a long history with, and I wanted to give that some time and really look over the materials again and making my evaluation. And as I went through and looked through my notes and did my rating of each entity, I I keep coming back to Codell as with their team and their experience within our state and their history with these type of buildings, their tracking system. I feel like there are several really good quality companies, and it is kind of splitting hair, but I guess I'll just put mine out there as I really liked Codell overall as the company to do this project.
And I think I've changed, re-looked at everything, and everything was really close. It was, so close with the experience and what we hear from them, and I think I'm gonna go Codell first.
Make sure that they're not afraid to utilize the whole property. We've gotten a couple different proposals, and Codell's one of them, where it looks like they're using a very small part of the property, and that concerns me, that they're afraid to take on that back area where it's kind of raised. And I think that's gonna do this whole center a disservice because I think really what it comes down to is they're looking at that back section as costing more money, losing money off the project. And so, just kind of looking at their front, or looking at where they're placing this thing, I think we're gonna end up with a very small, compact building if we don't make sure they utilize every part of that and are creative with that whole area. So,
well, just on that note, I think that's just their preliminary, just showing that it can fit on the site. I think how it ultimately looks and gets designed is in working with Mike and the sheriff and EMA, and because I did like the fact that I felt like they're gonna, and all of them said that to a certain point, except for one, which did come in with almost like a full design.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they're utilizing this Bacchus guy, and the other firm utilized it too. And I noticed that where they were placing it was almost identical to the one firm that he's on both projects, and so that really, like, is he giving them, because he's the engineering consulting person, is he giving both groups the same information that where they don't want to use that backside of the property? Because I mean, I don't really see this as just a traditional, rectangle building.
Right.
You've got a lot of space there that we need them to utilize the whole thing, or else we scrap the project, because it doesn't make sense to utilize an acre of this thing and really squeeze everyone together, and then, like we've talked about before, outgrowing the project before it even starts.
Right. No, I think that's something that's definitely got to be considered and discussed in the design phase because of the circulation patterns. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's just, I didn't want to interrupt. The one concern I had about Codell is looking at the architectural arm of they list no EMS or first responder type public safety in any of their projects. It's all, there's a couple of healthcare ones in there, but they're not emergency type buildings, so I was concerned about their lack of experience on the design architectural aspect of that.
Yeah, thank you, which is what I've kind of said all along. We need somebody to know the answers to questions we don't even know to ask.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Eric has kind of come in and shined, bright on that is, a lot of these guys, you give them a set of plans, they're going to build a building. It really comes down to the architect that designs these buildings. And so that's actually one of the things that I noticed about them as well, is that, we went really heavy and said, oh, this company here hasn't built a lot of EMS buildings or whatever, but, the nuts and bolts is the architectural firm that's going to design it. So I think you're 100% on that one, Steve.
The person at this table who has the most experience inheriting limited property is Barry. I'd like for him to restate what he did last week, and then I've got comments to make.
Thought a lot about it, and location of all the agencies, how you going to keep them from running over each other? got
Which
three.
which is not what you emphasized the other day, but I've thought about it in spades.
Yeah, and, you know, to have that many different agencies there, you're gonna have a lot of public traffic with the sheriff's office. The ambulance service is gonna have the space, but you guys are gonna need it. You don't need a lot going on around you when you got your downtime. Because that's when these guys and gals will get their rest. And we gotta take that in consideration. I mean, it's enough to be on call at night. We used to be on call with the rescue squad, and there was 2 of us. And we'd usually get called out, been called out on runs where we pulled up and this little lady sitting on the porch, got her coat on, her hat, got her cane, and she walks out to the ambulance. And Jimmy Gibson happened to be the EMT on there, and I was the driver, and she comes to the door and opens the side door of the ambulance. And she climbs up in there. It's just 3:30 in the morning, okay? And she said, I need to go to eat McDonnell. And Jimmy asked her the question, said, what for? She said, I have an appointment. He said, what time is your appointment? And I wish he'd never asked it. She said, it's 8:30. I want to be there in plenty of time. And I mean, this is what Mike and them still deal with this stuff.
They'll have those patients.
And you know, when they get their rest, they need to rest. Especially at nighttime, you usually don't get it. 1 a.m. is when they wake up.
I think it's important to know that,
Yeah.
I know you have questions about the size, but this lot is about the same size as the current government service building lot.
Which is very limited in
And-
egress and ingress.
Including the jail.
Yeah.
So,
And,
and we're not gonna have the
Public
jail over there, but we've got public works, we've got recycling, we've got EMS, and the jail, and the amount of traffic that comes and goes from public works, and especially the public we get into the recycling, I think is gonna be equivalent to what you're thinking the sheriff will be, so,
Yeah.
you know. I started thinking about that a lot, how are we gonna build this, but then when I pulled up Google Earth and I did some measurements on it, lot sizes are similar.
Well, there was shock and awe when I made my statement about going to other land that we have an interest in. We don't own it, but we have an interest in it, and I'm glad you're here. I was told that we could not do it because of the RFP. I contacted a guy named Rich Ornstein, and he said unless it's very clear that that is the site, it is mandate, and he used that word mandate, then you have the latitude. He said, look at the language and see what you're committed to, because he was implying that there's every reason to believe that we would have the ability to put this on other ground. And I really think we better explore that, because all those issues you brought up the last time, as I look at that map, as I think about all the other traffic on 34, we could have what you inherited 25 years ago. And I think we need to look at the RFP
It's important
to see if we have that latitude.
It's important to remember that Boyle County Fire Department headquarters is right there.
I understand.
So that gets utilized quite often. And so I'm not as worried about the traffic as long as we do the proper traffic study. So.
As far as the firm experience on Codell, it says Carlisle County EMS, Wayne County EMS, Whitley County
But is
EMS.
it an architectural
It's the
firm?
architect,
Or
it's the
not
person
architect,
designing
it's- It's not the design people that have that
It's
experience,
just
it's
the-
the construction people.
Okay, but not the architect.
Yeah.
He has.
The architect has very little experience with first responder buildings.
I too am torn between Branscombe and Codell, but leaning toward Codell.
So I'll make, I mean, it's everybody, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with Codell.
I'm confused though. Why would you trust an architect that's not built many?
I just trust
Public
that
safety
team,
buildings.
and I like the team that they put together, and so that's my motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay, seconded by Magistrate Bodner. Open for discussion. Counselor, can the chair make a motion for amendment to the motion? I know there are some restrictions by parliamentary procedure. I think I can.
Amendment to what motion?
That Jamie just made.
You want to amend his motion?
Yes.
But we have to vote, and then you would amend it.
Yeah, we'd have to vote, and then
No, you don't. You can amend the motion on the floor.
On the floor, okay.
Can you maybe state what you want to do, and maybe he'll amend his own motion?
That would be good. Under consideration of exploring another location.
I mean, I think that's something, I'm fine with that, because I think that also is gonna get fleshed out during the design process, because if
So
we get
within
into the
3 months,
process.
when they say, woo, we never realized the ground in the back is sloughing off and other issues come up, the cost of taking the building out.
I never heard any of the firms question the size, and that was part of the RFP, was to determine
That's
how
just
would
it.
fit
They all
on
saw
there.
the same RFP. They
And none
saw.
of them said,
but it was to determine if that site could be used, and they came back and none of them said that site couldn't be used.
They're all looking at it and saying, Charlie, Bill, Mary, I'm working against you here. Since you saw it that way, I'm gonna see it that way, so I'm gonna follow through with the way they sent it to me.
An easy way to get downtown. So if that's the case, we may not need this spot across from it, you know?
Right.
Right.
And we could alleviate, or we could do something with that.
Get rid of
So-
that, yeah.
So,
Well, let's get with Codell and get a contract in the works, get this signed and brought to you as soon as possible, so we can get working on some of these questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then it's all of them said, because, one of my questions was when do we get to the guaranteed max price point?
Yeah.
And again, that comes in and all of them pretty much said this, at basically at 30% design. So, we have all this and we get to the 30% design, and then, that's another one of those go, no go, back down, yes, we can do this, no, we can't do this, at that 30% design point.
and don't get hung up on this whole quality guarantee stuff, because anybody can guarantee something on the front end.
Oh, I know.
You know.
They're all gonna be on time, and they're all gonna.
Yeah,
They're all
everybody's
gonna be
gonna do a great job.
under budget,
Nobody's got better workers.
You know.
Under budget,
Under budget, all the time.
Yeah, under time.
Yeah, under time.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we ought to adjourn for 5 minutes to have a break and then go into executive session. And I guess I can formally announce that.
You make a motion to go into it, and you need to read the statute.
So you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because then we can take a potty break.
All right.
or adjourn.
I need a motion to go into executive session under KRS 61.810C for the discussion of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the public agency. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Magistrate Bodner. All in favor, any discussion? All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
We're live.
We were at joint jail.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will entertain a motion to leave executive session and go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay and seconded by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? Not? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? We are back in regular session.
And we'd like to emphasize that no action was taken in executive session.
Thank you.
And I want to make a motion that we reimburse Mercer County Fiscal Court for 23.68%, which equals to $107,309.71, which the Mercer County Fiscal Court requested to close out the restricted joint jail account, and we'll cut the check today.
Motion made. Do I hear a second? Second. Motion made by Magistrate Bodner, seconded by Magistrate Harmon. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. And now we will start round robin. And Steve.
I really don't have anything today.
Thank you.
I'm good.
David. Jason.
EMS committee met this morning. We discussed mutual aid with Mercer County, and we talked a little bit at court, but discussion kind of went where it's become more than mutual aid. It's become a crutch, and so we are going to get together with Judge, EMS committee, EMS, and Mercer County to discuss this. We also talked about portable radios, which we also took care of in court today as well. Mark Smith gave the crisis team update, which I love the positive stuff that's coming out of that. Terry Dunn gave an update on community outreach, and we're starting to see some positive effects from that as well. Mo gave his education update, which, you know, this is why we are one of the best EMSs in the state, and this is why we can attract the employees we have. It's not just about the condition of the building, it's the community that's within it. So our director and his deputy are, you know, should be thanked for what they've done out there. They also talked about the response for Frankfurt, and one of the things we talked about was for March, they had 695 runs, which is a whole new record.
Yeah.
By about 50, if my math is right. I would be interested to see how many of those are Mercer County runs. That's probably something we should ask.
I was gonna put that on Facebook, I better wait.
Yeah, so I'll ask Mike about that. So that's our meeting agenda, and I'll submit that for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate and Chair Jason Cullen and seconded by Magistrate Gay. Any discussion?
I have a question. The reports from Terry and Mark, are those something I can use to sort of promote their programs, or
They're
are
in
they
there.
confidential information in them?
Are there names?
Three names. No.
There's no names, just
Okay.
numbers.
Do you think it's okay to promote that, to sort of give some?
Ask them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
ask them,
All
because
right.
sometimes
I'll
they're
do
so
that.
specific.
I know, I hate to
that-
just take it upon myself. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Any other issues?
No, we're gonna take it easy today. It's been a long day.
We haven't voted.
I'm sorry, thank you. All those in favor of accepting the committee report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Magistrate Harmon.
Time to go home. Simple and sweet.
It is.
That's how I like them.
Thank you.
I've got a few things, but we had the most amazing meeting last night at Junction City Matters. We had a history collection, or I always steal the library's term, history harvest, and we had Mary Walker, I can't think of her last name. she was a walker. But Mary came in with this humongous amount of history from Junction City. And Maggie McAdams from the library was there to help digitalize that while we sat there, and then she worked out a time for Mary to come back. And so we saw pictures, we saw the old hotels, we saw all kinds of Junction City memorabilia. It was just amazing. And then Keith Richardson walks in, and I held the key to room 409 in the Gilcher. He has the actual keys. The keychain, or mostly it's just the keychain with the room number, but the key is on one of them, and I thought, is that not the Gilcher Hotel? That's, you know, here. So we had an amazing, and, excuse me?
What number?
409.
There's a story behind that.
Uh-oh.
It's not a car.
There's hundreds of numbers in there, but anyway.
Mary and Patsy stayed in that room.
Honeymoon.
Keith said his brother, Ricky Richardson, who's passed, but has so much memorabilia, he's gonna try to bring some more in, so many interesting things. And it was, everybody was just talking and amazed, and it was an amazing time. Let's see, it had pictures of Catholic, the Catholic Church on Catholic Knob with the school students there from the 1800s, and Mayor Douglas brought in this ledger of the court records from back in the 1950s. You know, you can go back and see. I said, uh-oh, you know, whose name is in there? Let's see. I have, we are going to work with the airport, and we're going to take over the balloon festival, not take over, but join with them on the balloon festival. They want Junction City Matters to do all they can. They want it to continue, but they need it to start being someone else. So they've chosen to work with us, and we're going to work with them. It's August the 24th. It's the tethered balloon. They had a great outpouring. We're going to change the time. They don't know it's
a Sunday.
As a Sunday at maybe 2 p.m., but we aren't positive about the time. So, but August 24th, it's going to be bigger and better. So it's going to be a really great event. We had a lot of people there. I went last year, and it was just a wonderful event. I just loved it. So we're really excited that they're giving us the opportunity to go with them to make this event one of our events also. We decided to go ahead, and April 11th, we're going to do an egg hunt. They may be floating down the way or something.
You'll need a Brinks truck for the cost of the eggs.
Yeah, we need to do something, but we've decided if it still rains Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, like they say, Friday's just Friday morning, we'll just hand out the eggs. But we're still going to have the event. We've got food people coming at 6, and we're just going to try to make the best of it. It's that time of year. We're going to have barbecue, a little small train for the kids to get in and ride around in the train. We've got all kinds of hot dogs, the Hot Dog Emporium, and the Junction City Fire Department's going to sell some hot dogs. Lots of good stuff. So come on out. That will be, says 7, but somebody will be there at 6. So if you want to be 6 o'clock, come on down. We'll have some food and some fun activities started. The Junction City Fire Department Auxiliary are having a block party at 5 p.m. on April 26th. So in a couple weeks after our event, they're going to have a block party downtown Junction City, and they'll have food and got a lot of game for the kids and some good, cool events. I'm so excited to see events and things happening in my little district. Had lots of road issues. I'm going to have to see who to talk to about the stoplight, the light at Ghost Pike and the bypass. They say that's not working right anymore. We got hot potholes on Parksville Knob, Neview's Road. I've talked to Roger about those, but I'm going to email him. Then the state, with the county, we still need to clean out some ditches on Old Mitchellsburg Road and Yates Road. And then some state things like the Knoblick and all that. I mean, Parksville Knob. I keep wanting to say Knoblick. Parksville Knob Road. But that's it. Other than that, it's been a busy time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shannon?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
And before I introduce Julie, I just want to say to Julie what she did for Brian. unbelievable research there to help us get through that situation, and so many other projects we're working on. So thank you.
Always.
Well, I was determined that if you were gonna hear the issue, you were gonna have the numbers, and so it was like I told Judge, I
Grueling
gotta
work.
just go home and all the boxes are in the back of my car if anybody wants to help me unload them. I mean, my dining room looks like a, but I got it, so thank you.
Oh, thank
Okay, what else do you have?
Okay, don't forget, on Monday the 14th at 10 a.m., we're doing a grand powwow meeting with the AOC and everything to try to work for getting them to commit to come back here if we tear this down and all that. On the 16th, the CACO briefing is at 9. Just want to remind you of that.
And we're gonna set up in here?
Mhm.
Good.
Yes. Ethics Commission has been moved upstairs. They were meeting at the same time. I think that's it for meetings, and I don't really have anything else other than what we talked about earlier. So.
Counselor?
CASA Gala this Friday. It's a great event. I'm going. My staff, 2 other staff attorneys are going as well. So great event. Go out to Junction. That sounds like fun.
Katina, do you have anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Sadly, it's not considered.
Okay, folks, unfortunately, I have several. And by the way, Julie contacted me, and Steele, I'm fine with that. Steele Gregory has passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Could you speak to his?
Steele was a stellar, I guess, a pillar of the community.
Yeah.
Ran Johnson and Pullman Insurance for many years. Lived his whole life with a disability with dignity, and just was an amazing person, has amazing children.
Yes.
It's a very big loss.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Well,
In
we
his
will-
obituary says death. So.
We will adjourn in
Yeah,
his memory.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. You have a very extensive email from me on black vultures. They have been in our community. I got calls 3 or 4, maybe it's 4 or 5 years ago about the circumstance. They are not native to the United States. They have migrated up from South America. One of my colleagues in this room agrees with me. How in the world are they on the National Protected List? I will not, for your consumption or the public's consumption, go into the details of how they attack a cow and a calf, because it's so graphically horrific that I just refrain to put it in the memo as well, but there are sites that you can look at. I'm very pleased that instantly Spencer Gwynn, the president of the Farm Bureau Association this year, and you've heard him speak at a couple of the breakfasts that we've been to, immediately wrote back to me, and you'll see on your computer the sites that you can open up safely and go to and read more about them. But I'm planning on, I've already sent it to over 30 people, including the Commissioner of Agriculture and others, CACO and KMCA, because this is a serious, serious economic circumstance for our cattle producers, or sheep, goats, anything that might be attacked by these animals. But I'm going to contact Comer's office and try to dig into the what and the why, and I can imagine that I'll contain myself on that, how they got on a list of protected birds, because they are not indigenous to this nation, and they are causing havoc in most of the states now, and they cannot, without permit and license, be eliminated. Good news, I think I reported at the last meeting, we have more steel than we thought we were buying, so we might have more than one bench, and that's underway as we're speaking. You mentioned the legislative briefing, and again, if you remember, we have to register ourselves, and I did that last night, so if you want to be part of that, and then we'll meet right here on the 16th. T-Mobile came yesterday and met with Allie Huff, Tony Wilder, Rob Kernodle, and myself. And I have to be very careful, Counselor, on this, but they have to separate the business end from their grant end in such a way that I will just simply say, we had an excellent meeting about their role in Boyle County and how they want to be a partner in Boyle County. And I'm cautiously optimistic after walking up and down Main Street and Tony and Allie telling everything they knew and more about all the activities that go on there, that we've got a good liaison with T-Mobile. And I don't understand all the bandwidth, I'll just call it that, but it was remarkable because they were showing the graphics on their phones at the tremendous new power. That's why I said to Bill, and this will have residual impact all the way over in far Jason Cullen's, and it will. I mean, it's going to be such a good, and you have to understand when you talk to your constituents, it's an option, you know, that's just one more opportunity for those of us who'd like better service. The deed protection, I would really advise to fill out that form. You can go right across the hall and get that from Casey's folks. They were very helpful to me. I think we opened up the eyes of our public if they will listen to our program here today, and if the newspaper will pick up on the impact of special taxing districts that we have no control over. And don't know about you, but how dare you go let these, and I'm talking broadly about the 7 or 8 that we have, and the folks out there do not realize that we can bring them here quarterly, but we cannot change the fee structure if they stay within the amount allotted by the state. As I think you all know now, the Dix Dam report was done in great inaccuracy on both Channel 18 and 27. Did you know that? There was a big cadre of folks who were very upset because they thought the water was coming their way because we accidentally opened 10 grades. This year, Dix Dam is 100 years old, and it has gates that must, by engineering of the dam when it was built, must, when it reaches a certain level, be open. And that's what we did and no more. And last night I sat there and I literally, with my phone, tracked all the places upriver, and it is upriver from us because it goes north to the Ohio River, and they're the unfortunate recipients of a lot of water that had to be released from Dix Dam. So it is not something that was done in error, and apparently from Brian this morning, the gentleman who made that error on television at length has called the stations, and they've rescinded his comments.
Hey, Tom, on that note, just real quick, as somebody that owns property on the lake and with that issue, just to amplify what you're saying, because I keep up with the water level very closely, and the water in a 2-day period in the lake went up 20 feet over 2 days, and so at that, it's 756 feet is basically, and that's sea level, not depth of the water, so that's sea level. So it went up from 730 to 756 over a 2-day period. And at that point in time, they either have to let the water go through the floodgates or it goes over the top of the dam. So the water is coming downstream. But the thing I think it's important for people to recognize is while they do that with great caution and understanding of what its impacts are downstream, again, I think it's important to realize that they're still holding back 20 feet of water for the length of the lake that could be going downstream otherwise and would be going downstream.
There would be floods anyway.
Otherwise,
or
so right. So yeah. I think, that was an unfortunate issue, I guess I'll just say, but I do think that the engineers at the dam and the Corps of Engineers and all the people that manage the water, it was an extreme event and still ongoing event for some areas, but the dam is still holding back a whole lot of water, because you can see the graph, and I keep up with it closely. The graph for the water rising was very steep, and they regulate it, and now it's leveled off. And so they're still holding back a tremendous amount of water that they'll let things settle before they continue to release some water. So it's the dam has done its job, and is, you know, just, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because
Well,
that
and I, likewise, that
an
detail is
understanding.
critical, and I didn't have all that, but it's really important, so thanks, Magistrate Gary. All right, we met Constitution Square last night. Nothing earth-shattering going on, but I've got a list of items that are planned on Constitution Square over the next couple of months, and I'm going to type that up and get that out. Just be aware that several folks in the community, about 25 I think, are working on the celebration of America's 250th anniversary next year. So we've begun a month or so ago.
And
Yep.
June 10th is our next meeting for the whole group. But I
Yeah.
think aren't we in a conference that week?
It starts that night, we have to go that night.
Okay.
So we're gonna have the meeting in the
Okay. So I'll correct him on that. Okay.
I think this is worth mentioning, and I made a recommendation to Julie. When we worked so hard last year to make sure to tell folks they had to get in on time on their projects, I think we need to back that up when circumstances develop where they do not submit paperwork on time. And my recommendation, and I don't know whether we vote on this or not, Counselor, but I would encourage the judge to send a letter of concern to Brass Band to say, folks, we're very serious about this, because we don't need Julie and others on our staff being encumbered with chasing things constantly, time and time again. And has anything come in yet?
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
finally
Oh, yeah.
submit?
Yeah,
Okay.
about 4 days late.
Okay,
3 or
all right.
4.
It comes back to us. If, honestly, if we want to send a message say that holds to that deadline date, that's really what's going to do it. But, but we don't. We just continue to allow things to come in late, make Julie have to work harder. So
That's why I'm bringing it up.
at some point, you just have to kind of say, this is the date. If you don't have it in, then you're not going to be funded, and then it's on them.
Yeah,
And then
we
they
do
have to
have that in there. If it's not in on time or incomplete, you could risk your funding. We do, that is in the packet, so.
And so at some point, we give them a deadline and then 5-day grace, and then after that,
Yeah.
we're not, and you shouldn't have to be asking these people or going after them. If it's important to them, they know the dates, especially as we move to electronic forms and stuff like that.
And the action on the 5 days should be on their shoulders, not Julie's or anybody's.
No. No, we'll give them 5 days grace to get it in without any prompting from us, and then from there, it's sorry, you missed the deadline.
All right. And I'm turning to Magistrate Cullen on this, because I only learned this morning, but there's a consideration, and I'm going to ask counsel to speak after Magistrate Cullen. Consideration of $10,000 going to Bunny Davis Pool, and you must know something about that, I understand.
I do.
I
can
don't.
tell you. Earl called and
Oh,
said
yeah.
to fix the pool, it's gonna cost $20,000. Would we split the repairs with them? The judge said we would, but then when we had the other concerns, so she's bringing that to you for approval to get the pool open by May.
Are we good on all other reimbursements that are agreed upon
I
with the
believe
city
so.
right
I
now?
believe so. I know of none that are behind. They're pretty good about paying now that Lee's there.
Counselor, without that being on the agenda,
And we
can we?
But the question is, we're not 50-50 owners in this, so why do we don't even own it. We've given them money for years since they decided they wanted to take over Parks and Rec. This is
And
what
you
they
said that we're 50-50, and then you said we don't.
We don't own it at all. They wanted to take over Parks and Rec years ago. They said it's not working with you guys being partners with us, so let us run everything. This is the amount of money that we want you to pay us. We already give them money for the pool. We give them money for Bunny Davis. the recreation facility. We give them money for Millennium Park, which we do own half of, so that's right. So if we're paying them already for something we don't own, why are we going to pay them more money? That's my question. Like, it's like, you know, if you're renting a house from somebody, and then they say, oh, it needs a new roof, so we want you to pay half the roof. It's not my responsibility. This is what, you already own the property. Why? I mean, I understand they're gonna say that, you know, people in the county will come and use the pool, but not that many. So I don't see where we would go 50-50 on this.
Without being on the agenda, unless you advise otherwise, Counselor, I would defer this for 2 weeks.
I thought that's what we were saying anyway, that Judge was gonna bring this.
Well,
back.
she was gonna bring it today because she had already told Earl that we would do it, but then, you know, we talked about the other stuff. The agreement with the city says that they are in charge of maintenance, but this is not routine maintenance. This is what we would call a special project. It's gonna involve more than just maintenance.
Replacing a roof on a house is not
Which,
routine
you know,
maintenance.
you could interpret that as maintenance or not. So I think she was asking for your vote on whether to fund 50% of the pool or not.
Other input?
I'd say we defer it till the next court meeting.
Y'all,
when she's
I think
here.
about it. Yeah, I think let's set that for the agenda.
I'm gonna send you the agreement so you can read the language that we're under. I feel like you need to see that
I thought
before
we
you
had
vote.
already addressed this issue. Had we not already?
Not the pool. I think the judge did, but we really feel like you need to vote on it.
Yeah, Earl came in, talked to Judge and Julie. Judge thought she had the ability to take money out of a certain fund. We talked to her about it, and, you know, we all realized that that was not the case. And so, now she's coming back to the court for approval to spend the funds, which is the way it should be. Because this is not something we've got set up for a budgeted item. I mean, there's nothing in there. Where are we gonna take this from? General reserves or whatever? You know, it's not something that's been budgeted. And again, I mean, my personal thing is it's not our responsibility. We pay them money to take care of the pool and.
Right, yeah, no maliciousness, or, you know, the court had already approved, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, I'm not, there's nothing
But she
on her
just
part.
felt, you know, for best transparency purposes, from here on out, that when something like this comes forward, that just leave it up to the a vote from the fiscal court. And so I think that's what she wanted to do.
I mean, I think our counterpoints, the city has to do the same thing. The city manager can't just sit here and like say, I'm gonna write a check for $10,000. It has to go before his commissioner and the mayor as well, so.
I think it'd be best we set this out for the next meeting.
I have some grave concerns as magistrate only, that we're already in a situation with the city that could cost the county, Junction, and Perryville very significant dollars, far beyond this request. So I'm reserving my final thoughts and opinion on this till we do some more research on both that issue, which you're aware of, and which Paula is very much aware of.
I'm not which.
All right. We have a new water line, and we have a few dozen hydrants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is near, if not in litigation, correct?
I think that Nori Kearns is their attorney, and let her stand.
So I have grave reservations about the transparency of issues, the initiation of issues that we see, at least I've seen over the past 6 years, where we might even know about them after the fact from the city. So, all right, any other input on that?
Anything else?
I have one thing.
Yeah.
If you're finished.
I'm
Are you
finished.
Just real quick, the appropriations, we never decided, do you want the groups to come before you, or do you want me to put a spreadsheet of all the asks and let you all vote on them and send them to me?
I think that's good.
I mean, it is what it is. I have reached out to our economic development groups, and they've all received a note from me saying, please give me your budget numbers. It's the process we did last year. And then the appropriation list, I will spreadsheet it out with the request and the history and let you all look at it.
But they're submitting a request, right? That was the question I had.
Absolutely.
So where the airport never received anything,
We don't make them go through that process. Last year, I called Planning and Zoning, JJ, EDA, and the airport and said, what do you need in the budget this year? They gave me their numbers, I put them in the budget, you all discussed it and voted on it. That's how it worked last year. That's what I thought you wanted me to do. If you want me to put them back in the appropriation process, I'm happy to do
we keep
that.
going back and forth on this. I'm not asking you to do certain things. All I'm asking is, they should submit a form that says, I have a funding request. It's not a phone call that says, hey, tell us what you want.
Okay,
What is the problem with that?
I don't have a
genuinely
problem
agree with
with
that.
that. We just change every year.
We don't change every year. I think interpretations get made and people think that's the way it's going. That's not the case. They should be submitting a request. Because if that's the case, the airport can say, I want $150,000, you write it in there and like, okay, then we're gonna give that to them. That's not the process.
That's not the way it worked
They-
last year.
Well, last
JJ
year was a
asked for-
bumble crap because of everything that was going on.
I'm sorry,
You had
I
a lot-
didn't feel like it was a bumble crap. I
You
thought
had
it
a
went
lot
very
going
well,
on. I'm not saying you, I'm saying we fired a treasurer, is all I'm saying. You're taking this personal,
I am,
and it's gonna be a problem.
I am.
Yeah, you
Because
shouldn't.
you were
It's a
happy with it
discussion.
last year.
No, I wasn't happy with it last year. It's a discussion. No, I've been asking for a week to get an answer that I haven't been given.
Okay,
So,
Sunday night at 9:30, you were asking for an answer.
no, I was asking for an answer
And
last
I gave
week.
you the answer, and you came back and said,
No,
you didn't answer the question, and I gave
This
that
is
to you
not a
again.
productive.
My question
This
was,
is not a productive
Tom,
discussion.
don't gavel me right now.
I am
My
going to
question
gavel you
was,
because
did you send a
this is-
form? That was all my question was.
No.
That was my
Magistrate
question.
Cullen, I'm calling you to order under the auspices of being the seated judge for the day. You've made more than one insulting comment today, and we need no more. We have people who are overworked, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn in memory of Steele Gregory.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Magistrate Gay and seconded by Magistrate Bowden. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise?
Aye.
We are adjourned.